Everybody ready?
Yep.
I'd like to welcome everybody to our March 15th Board of Trustees meeting, the Bruce Township Board of Trustees. Can we get a roll call, please?
Silva?
Here.
Kraft? Here. DeGiorgio?
Here.
Crafty?
Here.
Augustine absent?
Stand up to the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Hey, Treese.
Hi. Just talking. Were your ears ringing? Yeah, a little bit. Were they good?
Just like I said, I haven't talked to them. I haven't seen Teresa. Yeah, I haven't seen her in a long time.
First order of business, we need to approve our consent agendas. Anybody have any deletions or additions they wanted to make to the agenda?
Take off G, right?
That's it?
Taking off G.
No, we're still gonna make a motion for public hearing just in case it does go through possible votes. That's for folks, you said G, right?
Yeah.
Likely that, because we need 2 weeks notice anyway.
Actually,
Assume that. Anybody else? Bank of New York agent fee, do you know anything? Dana, do you know anything? The Bank of New York's, it's Mellon US Bank, it's $750. And one for 42,000 is the same thing for the bonds. It says loan on it.
Yeah, that's for,
I thought maybe because it might be, like you said, if it's housekeeping.
the sewer, the water bond.
It's on 4-4.
That's what it was.
Sewer loan then?
Yeah, water.
Okay, that's all I have. Nobody else has anything else. I'll make a motion to go ahead and approve the agenda as presented.
Or,
Consent agenda as presented. Report by DeGiorgio. There's no other discussion. Can we get a roll call, please?
Crafty?
Yes.
Kraft?
Yes.
DeGiorgio?
yes.
Silva?
Yes. Right now, we're going to move on to item 4, which is comments from the floor. Anybody that would like to speak would be welcome to stand at the podium. We just like to keep your comments to minimum of 3 minutes,
Okay.
maximum of 3 minutes.
Okay.
You know the routine.
Teresa Vito Smith, Covered Bridge. I had 2 comments. They're pretty good comments. I wasn't at your meeting last month, but I did watch it on YouTube, and I want to say it is coming across really well. The video is clear. It could probably be a little louder, but I was very impressed with it. So we're doing a good job on that. And the second thing I want to say is basically thank you guys for being responsible on the salary that you paid yourself, keeping yourselves at what the employees get. And that's all my comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Teresa.
It makes good point. We should remind ourselves that 6 inches at the beginning of every meeting, because that makes a difference. I'll use 2.
That comment goes to you also, Eli, so thanks for the good work you're doing back there. Anybody else? Please state your name and your address.
Okay. Stephen Lacey, 25680 32 Mile Road.
Steve, how are you?
Good, how are you? I was wondering why the cemeteries weren't put out for bid, because I would like to bid on it, the work.
So this is public comment, or are we doing questions and answers?
We technically can answer his question if we want to, if we so choose to. If not, we can decline answering your question.
I'll answer the question, because last year we put it out for bid, for both sexton and landscaping, and we only had two people that put in for it. And one White Landscaping, Ron White Landscaping, he put in a bid to do the maintenance work. And Yard Services put in 2 bids, one to do the landscaping maintenance, and the other was to be the sexton. So based on that, and the fact that they've been doing a good job, I asked them for a 3-year contract, and that's why I didn't pursue putting a bid on.
Oh, okay, because I would like to bid it, and I think that I could probably do a better price on it, so that's all I have.
Well, it's going to be up to the board to decide whether they accept the bid that came in or not. Like I said, last year, we only had one person put in to be the section, that was Yard Services. And just recently, we put out a bid to put new roads in the cemeteries. I reached out to 6 different contractors to give them a request for proposal, emailed them to them, and we only had 2 people out of 6 that responded.
Okay.
So I figured the same thing would have happened with, the sexton.
Oh, okay, well, I'm willing to bid on it.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I just, to what he was saying, if we could get some clarification on that. Frank, we put it out for bids, but we did it as a 3-year contract, is that my understanding?
No, last year it was put out for bid, both the sexton and the lawn maintenance.
And we gave a 3-year contract?
No, it was just
No.
a 1-year contract for each.
Okay, and then this year we didn't put it out for bids?
No.
Because
I
we
just
didn't
asked
have a
them-
good,
Yeah, I asked them to put in to put together a 3-year contract, and they did.
okay,
you know.
okay. Did we publish that? I mean, I think if we've always been putting it out for bids, maybe we should have done it out for bids and then tell them that we're looking for a longer contract, so we don't have to do this every
My
year.
understanding, we don't have to do that unless you
Okay.
have somebody for a longer period of time. I think you're an expert in that field, committee.
I don't think they put it out for bid. When we started, we put it out for bid just because we didn't know. So we wanted to be familiar with what was out there.
Is that what the rule is, we're supposed to put out for bids, or is that at the discretion of the board based on the dollar amount of what the potential contract is?
It's based on the dollar contract.
Okay.
And also, I think it's as long as we get quotes in and know that it's within reasonable, within.
So if this gentleman or anyone else that's listening wants to bid on it, because there could be new people coming into the community, at what point would that go out for bids again? Like next year or after 3 years, because you mentioned about a 3-year
If the
contract?
board decides to vote, if the board decides to accept the proposal that was put in,
Okay.
yes, it would be 3 years. If
Okay.
not, then we'd have to put it out for bid.
Okay.
And again, let me add that's not going to be fair anyway, because the public's going to know what the bids were.
Well, now they would, but I mean, like next
Well,
year.
I'm sure they already know now, but
Yeah, okay, perfect, thank you.
thank you.
But Frank, were you also saying too that, and just for clarification, that he is also doing the sexton work, which is very limited as far as the capabilities of some of the landscaping vendors in the past? It's a totally separate
There's
service.
totally separate services.
So, okay.
Landscape, the maintenance is cutting the lawn, whipping, spring and fall cleanup. Sexton is burials,
Burials.
headstones, the headstones.
Steve, you're thinking about bidding the sexton work or the sexton?
Yes, sir.
Any more public comment? Close the public comment. Now we're going to go into our hearings and reviews. We do have a public hearing regarding our budget, so I'll make a motion to open up public hearing at 6:12 PM. Support that?
Sorry.
Support by Kraft. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Is there any comments from the floor regarding our budget? Reese?
I didn't really have time to look through it all completely, but I did have one question that came to mind based on what I saw on the agenda. It has to do with moving money from the general fund to the water. Is that somehow in here, or it just comes out of the general fund? Okay. All right,
This month's number was,
okay. That's all I wanted to know, if it was somehow tied into our budget, but it really isn't. We're just going to move it as we need it. Okay, that's all I got. Thank you.
Thanks, Teresa. Is there any other public comment regarding the budget? No, I'll make a motion to go ahead and close public comment. at 6:12. Is there any discussion regarding the budget at all? Any board members have anything to discuss regarding the budget? I know we've had our workshops, so we've been working on this. I think we're all pretty familiar with the budget. If nobody has any more comments on it, I'll make a motion to go ahead and approve the budget as presented.
support.
Or by Kraft. Any other discussion? Motion, can we get a roll call, please?
Kathy,
Yes.
DeGiorgio,
Yes.
Kraft,
Yes.
Philbrook.
Yes. Moving on to item,
Jim?
so we need to make, that was supposed to be, so that was a general, so we need a public hearing for each one of them, right? Okay, so I'm going to make a motion by resolution to go ahead and approve the fire budget as presented.
Second?
All in favor? We got to vote by resolution. I didn't get a chance.
DeGiorgio,
Yes.
Kraft,
Yes.
Kathy,
Yes.
Philbrook.
Yes. I make a motion to go ahead and approve by resolution to approve the ALS contract as presented.
Second.
Support by Susan. Anybody has any more discussion, motion, or roll call, please?
Philbrook,
Yes.
Kraft,
Yes.
DeGiorgio,
Yes.
Kathy.
Yes.
Additionally, I'll make a motion by resolution to approve the improvement revolving budget as presented.
Support.
By Susan. No other discussion, can we get a roll call, please?
Kathy,
Yes.
Philbrook,
Yes.
Kraft,
Yes.
DeGiorgio.
Yes.
Thanks, Dan. I don't, it's not separate budget. I mean, we have to do some more, or we do it before. That's a part, isn't it? Isn't that part of our general, I think it's part of our general budget. We can do it just to be sure, one for each, then I'll make a motion to go ahead and approve the sewer budget. Motion by resolution to approve the sewer budget as presented.
Support.
Support by Susan. If there's no other discussion, can we get a roll call, please?
DeGiorgio,
Yes.
Kathy,
Yes.
Kraft, Philbrook.
Yes. Make a motion by resolution to approve the water budget as presented.
Support.
Support by Susan. No other discussion, can we get a roll call, please?
Kraft,
Yes.
Philbrook,
Yes,
DeGiorgio,
Yes.
Kathy.
Yes.
thank you. So moving on to new business. There's no unfinished business at this time, so item 7A would be set the budget amendment meeting. Did you have a date in mind, Susan?
Yeah, the 29th, March 29th at 4 p.m.
Were you able to get a hold of Mr. Turnbull?
Yeah, we didn't discuss time specifically, but
That work for you also, Lisa?
Can you give me that date again, Susan?
March 29th, it's a Wednesday, 2 weeks from today.
Yes. Thank
motions.
Make a motion to set a special meeting for March 29th at 4 PM.
I'll support. There's no other discussion, can we get a roll call, please?
Georgio,
Yes.
Kathy,
Yes.
Philip,
Yes.
Kraft.
Yes.
Motion approved. Item 7B, the tech proposals. What did you say, we wanted to delay that for another?
Well, Doug could speak first, but.
Hi, how is everybody today?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing well. My name is Doug Manska. I'm with RCC Business IT, formerly the Romeo Computer Company. We've been based here in Bruce Township for almost 30 years. So as a company, we are very invested in this area and we would love to earn the business here. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about IT security before I get into my specific proposal, which is on the table in front of you. Does anyone here know how much money was lost worldwide to cybercrime last year? $10 trillion. It's 13 zeros. I had to Google it. It's a lot of money. Entire governments, national governments have been brought down due to cybercrime. So when we look at managed services, we're also taking a good, hard, long look at security. So we bring some extra security to the table that a lot of our competitors don't. So today I'm going to talk to you about both managed services and managed security. And the plan that I've put together here for you is very, very inclusive. We've got a lot of different moving parts here and a lot of tools that we can bring to bear for you. And one of our very specific goals is, as we are presenting these costs to you, we want billing from month to month to be very, very consistent. So we include on-site time, we include unlimited help desk, we include almost everything that you could need outside of very specific projects. So let's start with talking about managed services. We're going to provide unlimited access to our help desk. Any user that has any kind of computer problem, we're having trouble getting QuickBooks to work. I can't find this printer on the network. My computer won't turn on. The printer's not working. Printers are black magic. We can help with all of those problems, and you would have unlimited access to our team and to our help desk. You submit a ticket, you make a phone call, we assign a tech, they reach back out, we fix the problem. As part of that, we're going to be focusing on a lot of centralized services with that. It's going to include patch management, daily backup verifications. You guys have servers, you guys have workstations here. We want to make sure every single day that those backups are being done properly. Fault indication monitoring. We have tools that we can bring to bear on the network here where we can see maybe a hard drive on the server is starting to run hot or slow. We can see and identify that before you run into data problems and hard drive failures. We can address it. It's a lot cheaper to fix things before they actually break than to wait for something catastrophic to happen. What I'd like to bring in is a hardened backup solution for you. It would run on a separate device from your existing server. It would run a hardened Linux operating system that is completely impervious to ransomware. It would not speak the same language as your existing server, which means in the event that a hacker were to gain access to your system, they cannot gain access to your backup systems. So that adds an additional layer of security here. As part of our onboarding process, what we would do is we would fully document your network to make sure that all problems are able to be fixed quickly and accurately the first time. If we bring you guys on board, you will work with me personally. I will help to create a roadmap. We'll address any issues, any future plans that you want to make, equipment replacements, equipment upgrades, address any problems. We'll have meetings as often as you would like to have meetings. We're just up the road. I'm 5 minutes away. If you have a problem, call me. I'll be here and we'll work on it. We also consider, we consider transparency to be super important. So any work that we do, any reports that we generate, we're more than happy to provide to you. If you'd like to see antivirus reports, great, we can get those for you. If you'd like to see reports on operating systems, we can get those for you. We also realize that that can be a lot of technical jargon. Maybe you don't want to see all that and just trust us to do that work. That's also fine by us too. On the security side of things, inside of this contract, we're going to include antivirus and endpoint protection. Antivirus is super important. It's great. It's looking for known bad things that are out there on the internet. So if it sees something that it knows is bad, it's going to block it. It's going to send a notification to us. We're going to reach out. If you do happen to hit that shifty website or that shifty link, we'll reach out to that user. Hey, we saw you just hit this link. Can we do a quick scan on your computer? This is how you run that. Scans quick. That way we can make sure that there's no trailing bad information, bad actors on the network. But just stopping the known bad things, that's easy. We're also going to bring additional tools, Secure Operations Center, Advanced Threat Detection. These tools are a whole different layer. They make use of things like artificial intelligence and machine learning. They're not just looking for things that are known to be bad. They are looking for activities. I'll use myself as an example. As I said, I work for RCC. I have perfectly valid credentials to log into the RCC servers. But we run these security tools on our servers and on all of our equipment. If I were to log in on my computer in the middle of the night, that system knows that's not a normal time for me to be working. So it's going to put up a little red flag, and it's going to say, hey, this is weird. And it's going to send a notification off to the administrators on that network and say, hey, Doug is doing this thing. Is Doug supposed to be doing this thing? And from there, the machine can get us to start asking very specific questions. Yes, Doug has a big project going on tomorrow. He probably can't sleep. He's doing his normal things. It's fine. No problem. Let him go. But maybe that's not the case. Maybe we can see Doug is logged on from northern Zimbabwe right now. That's interesting. He was in Bruce Township yesterday. That seems odd. Maybe somebody has stolen my credentials. Well, that system can recognize that difference and start asking questions again. Well, maybe Doug needs to change his credentials. Maybe I am doing things that I'm not supposed to be. Maybe I'm not a good guy anymore. But these tools create that scenario where we can start asking those questions. It's super important out there to protect yourself from as many different types of bad attacks as you can. We'll monitor the dark web. Are any of you familiar with what the dark web is? Got a couple of nods. It's kind of a seedy underbelly to the internet. It's a place where you can buy all kinds of personal information. You guys have a lot of personal information that's logged onto these servers here. If somebody were to get access to that, how many credit cards and mortgages could be created with the information that's here if it were stolen? We want to be able to keep an eye out for all of that. We would monitor every email address on the domain, make sure nothing with this domain was showing up on the dark web. And if it does, we can reach out to you, make sure that those passwords are changed and close off that access very, very, very quickly. We talked about clicking on bad links, avoiding bad websites. If it was as easy as avoiding emails from Nigerian princes who say, send me $1,000, I'll send you $2 million, we wouldn't have anything to worry about. But it's not that easy anymore. So also included in this plan is a hybrid security awareness training program that we could put all of your employees and all the staff here on. And what that training is going to do is it's going to be an automated training. It's going to send out some videos. It's going to send out sample phishing scams and sample scam emails. And it's going to log who's watching those, and it's going to send us a report. It's going to look at who's clicking on the scam emails, so we know where we need to focus our in-person training, which is the second half of our hybrid training. We're going to take some of the most modern and the most current attacks. We're going to come in and we're going to teach you about those. And we're also going to use the weak spots that we learned through the automated training. And a couple of times a year, we can come in with the entire staff, with a person from our staff, and do an education. seminar with you. We'll teach everybody what they can and can't do out on the internet. We don't want to get people in trouble. We want to educate and inform. So that's what's very important to us. We've also included spam filtering for your existing emails. I believe you already have that in place, so we'd move to a little bit of a different service, but it would achieve the same goal. And then finally, with this, all of the help desk that we talked about, completely unlimited remote help. Every so often, something goes sideways and we need to put somebody here on site. I don't want something to go sideways for you guys to be down and us to be waiting for authorization to say, we'll send a tech out. We authorize that payment. We've included 12 hours of emergency on site here, and we've also included 9 hours of emergency remediation in the event of a cyber attack. As part of our documentation, we're going to create network maps. We're going to create all kinds of information. And one of the most important pieces that we're going to have, that we're going to create for you, is a cyber incident response plan. I brought a sample out. I'll pass it around. What that document does is that gives us a very specific roadmap of what we do in the event of some sort of a cyber criminal event. Who do we call? Who's responsible in your office, in your board here? Who's responsible at RCC? We'll work together with you to develop that plan. That plan is super, super, super important. If you have a lawyer that needs to be consulted in the event of an attack, that's listed in there. If you have a cyber insurance policy for the township, that's listed in there. Because we don't want to step on anybody's toes and create a problem. So, any questions as to the service that we can do?
Spam blocking, is that all the filtering that we would normally need for?
Yes, sir. Absolutely. It's going to take known bad emails. Spam filtering typically cleans out about 95% of the shifty emails that you'll get. No filter is perfect. We use that ourselves. All of these tools that are being presented here are tools that RCC uses ourselves.
You mentioned that RCC has been 30 years, I think it's been in the community.
29 specifically, yeah.
You're a new owner of RCC? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm the local sales guy.
But RCC has not changed hands?
RCC has not changed hands. It is still owned by Steve Eaton. Mm-hmm.
Well, Doug, thank you very much. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate your time.
I just have one question, though. On your proposal here,
Yes, ma'am.
the confidentiality agreement at the bottom of the page, I just have a concern that, given that this is township and all information that's submitted becomes public information and it's FOIA-able, I just want to make you aware of that this, at the request of any resident or anybody, this information can be.
That's fine. Not a problem.
Okay, I just wanted to make you
Nope, not a
aware
problem.
of that because.
Absolutely. No problem. No problem whatsoever. 100% transparency there. Part of where that comes from too is, as an IT provider, we have access to a lot of the information that's here. Our guys are certified, they're vetted. We do work with a lot of big companies. We do work with the local police department here. Our guys are checked out. We also have a responsibility to maintain confidentiality too. But as far as a public record for a quote, by all means.
I just wanted to make sure you.
Yeah, no problem. No problem at all.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Any questions for Doug? And are you here from?
Yes.
Did you want to come up?
Yes.
Perfect time.
I apologize, board. I thought the meeting was at 7. I guess it was moved. Yeah. So not a problem.
Isn't it Rick, the guy that was here last time?
Yeah.
Will we wear him out or something?
Well, no, we're a different company. Yeah. Can
Oh,
I?
we don't have any information.
Aye. I do. No, I want to see me in the post office.
Thank you.
Pictures they hang on.
The wanted.
I was like, the post office, oh, wait, yeah, I got it. Hi, Board. Thank you for this time. And my name is Dan from Dacotech. I happen to be the owner. We are an IT company, been in business for 24 years. And we got our start with law firms. We've managed 855 Mike Wins for 17 years before we parted ways. We've managed, he brought his IT in-house at 140 users. It got too big. We managed Zamler, Schiffman, Carfus, on lawyers on the television. And we managed 126 clients, most of which are in 5-county area. But we've got about 10 clients out of the state of Michigan. And how do we do that? Well, we work with specialty software that we're able to work with them anywhere in the country. If boots on the ground are needed in other areas that we don't participate in, we are able to contract with other IT support. That's how we work in other parts of the country. So recently I started wearing these. You have to excuse me.
No worries.
It happened. It's a little it's a new thing for me. We're proficient in the technology that all the other MSPs talk about. We all do similar activity. But, you know, we're all going to tell you we love what we do, and we're going to have a secret sauce that one other doesn't. What we believe we focus on is ethics and soft skills. We don't want a nickel and dime or have you buy more. So if we run a tight ship, in my proposal, what's going to happen is we'll spend less money on IT service, you'll spend less money on IT service, and everything will run smoother. If something doesn't run right, that's on the IT's responsibility. The name of the game is shifting. No more block hour purchases, no more have to buy more, no more we're only going to include this and not include this. We're going to put the onus on us to maintain a healthy network for you. If it's not healthy and something happens, we're going to have to resolve it, because that's the name of the game that's happening here. With the subscription-based format, when you pay X number of dollars per month in an all-inclusive plan, or what is called a non-block hour purchase, some sort of, we call ours DACO IT, and DACO IT stands for Dacotech. And it is a plan that's all-inclusive. So let's continue on with that. Page 2 talks a little bit about the plan we're going to propose here. I met with Susan about a few months back, and during that plan, we talked about a few things. We talked about moving to the cloud. What would it take to move to the cloud? We talked about maintenance and preventive maintenance, as well as backups. In the proposal that we're going to give to you here, we're going to take care of all these things. Number 1, elaboration of services, page 2. We have a hardware as a service plan. We're going to supply you a backup appliance, part B, 1B, a backup appliance, and that backup appliance is going to take an image of all your data here that's on premise. Then we're going to move it to Amazon Web Services every night. So that is called an immutable backup. Immutable backups are very important, so you don't get, if you do get cryptoed, there is a plan in place, as other ITs have proposed, to get your data back. It's not just on premise here, it's off premise. And that they're image-based backups. What that means is that every night an image of your data is taken off premise, and it's easy to restore. Kind of like taking the Word application and the Word document and being able to go to any other machine and restore your data. If the building blew up, we could turn your data on in a data center, either at Amazon or one that we operate out of at 14 Mile and Coolidge. So we're going to provide you under 1B, hardware, client supplied hardware, I'm sorry, 1A, client is, we have the ability to lease you hardware and bring you on board in the event of a failure. That's included in the plan we're going to propose. We're going to work with all your clients' supplied hardware, such as servers, desktops, and printers, under this flat fee. Software as a service. So there's hardware as a service, software as a service, security, disaster recovery, and then your IT support. So there's 5 major categories that we're going to talk about here. 1, hardware as a service. You're supplying your hardware. You can purchase it from us, or you can purchase it on your own. When you purchase it from us, we combine 125 clients into one buying pool, and we get you the best price available. We will always meet or beat all internet pricing. You will never have to check our prices against the internet, because we don't want to make $50 or $75 on a piece of hardware. We make it on our labor in our 24 years in business, because we work for very savvy law firms. To go Google HP ProCurve 3024, they're going to say, why did you charge me $100 more for this machine? We will never charge you more, and you will never have to spot check our resources and our pricing. That is not a model that we don't. Driving through the community here, I'm a huge bike rider, cyclist, and when I ride through Mason, Stockbridge, Gregory, Unadilla, all these out in west, I ride to Lansing from Michigan to Michigan State, and back on a bicycle. I see these great communities, and I love communities like this. So that's why I'm here today to propose an all-inclusive plan. So we're going to go on to software as a service. In our price, we're going to include Microsoft subscription. We're either going to get you municipality or government pricing on that Microsoft subscription, so you're on the most current software. In our plan, that's included. So whether or not we get government pricing or not, we're including it in the price. Number 2B, the company will aid in acquisition of the seeking government nonprofit pricing. So we are going to supply it to you, and if we get better pricing, we will lower your cost if you're approved for the government pricing. So hardware as a service, software as a service. Hardware, we're supplying you once again any backup appliances that are needed here, including backup to Amazon Web Service. Number 2, we're supplying you the Microsoft subscription at the pricing. Number 3, security. We will supply security software. We're all going to do something similar. And I can tell you that ours is better than theirs, or theirs is better than ours in some facet or another. But we will supply to Susan or whomever weekly, monthly reports, whatever you'd like, in full color email reports saying that you're patch managed, that you have no encryption, that you are safe from encryption, and that you have the ability to be rolled back. So your Microsoft patch management status will be known to you. In other words, if patches come out on Thursday, they'll be deployed on Friday. We're all going to sell you the same sort of activity. It's a remote monitoring and management service. So that's hardware, software, security as a service. We have 4 products in there. One is patch management, one is antivirus. Today's antivirus, and this is important to note, we're all using EDR or XDR, and that is endpoint detection and response, which monitors the Windows processes on the machine. And if you open up, if Mike opens up an email and it detects that there's unsigned macros in a Word document, it'll shut down the Word document, or it'll shut down email. If it's contagious, all of us use a feature called containment for crypto, because crypto encryption is very important, right? Not the cryptocurrency, but being protected from crypto. So what happens is the network card gets shut down to stop the spread of infection. Any questions with how EDR works or XDR? And everyone familiar with the Windows processes? If you hit Control-Delete, you go to processes, you can see that. All right.
If you got any questions, I mean, Dana's worked almost 30 years here. She's our IT.
Sure.
Now that she's no longer here, she's filling in, obviously. But.
Sure. So, Dana, question? No. So we also do a DNS filter. DNS is protecting you from websites. We have 2-factor authentication by Duo Security. Currently, you don't have remote access, but if you ever wanted to have remote access, whether it was if your documents were migrated to SharePoint, or if your documents were migrated, which is a cloud-based storage for documents, or if your documents were to remain on your server and you needed remote access to them for whatever reason, snow day, whatever, Duo Security is included in our pricing. Duo was started 12 years ago by some Michigan graduate students, and they sold their company to Cisco for $2.35 billion in cash. Yep, and they're owned by Cisco now. So we've covered hardware, software, security, disaster recovery. We're backing you up every night here. We're supplying you a box on premise in our pricing, and that box takes image snapshots of your virtual servers and takes them over to Amazon every night. All inclusive, you can put as much data on there as you want. We're not going to nickel and dime you. We don't want to overcharge. We want to run a tight ship and come in with a price point that's affordable and something that's palatable for all parties. Monthly charges. What you're going to get with us, other than hardware, software, security, and disaster recovery as a service, you're going to get support. We're going to include all the support, remote support you can, in one site visit for a support incident. That means if your server blows up and we have to be here 10 times, that's all included. And that means if you deploy 4 new machines and we have to come 3 times, that's included because it's a new machine deployment. We don't want to say, oh, we had to come 3 times, we missed a part or something like that. We want to run a tight ship for you both on the site maintenance and security, backups, and all-inclusive plan. So if there's a small caveat on 5A for monthly charges, those monthly charges, which means if you have a specialty application and we have to call that manufacturer because they have a specific, there needs to be updated to a newer version, or if there's a fee because it's damaged to database, we can't physically fix it, only if there's a third-party fee to fix that application. I don't know all the applications you use, but that's the only time you'd see a fee. On-premise service calls, if and anything goes over that one support incident per month, the on-premise service calls, there's a one-time $60 fee for a site visit. Timeliness of support, from the time you call in to the time you're answered, is 0 to 30 minutes for all remote support. And for an on-premise visit for mission critical, as if there's a network down or no internet, it's a 2-hour on-premise time commitment. There is 0 onboarding and labor costs, page 3. And we want to offer a flat fee pricing. What we estimate, there's approximately 15 users and then 5 miscellaneous workstations. So part 6B represents a $135 cost. What is in that cost is Amazon subscription, Veeam backup, so hardware and software as a service, security as a service, and all the support that you need remote, including one site visit for an incident. If that incident rolls over once again, that incident is covered if we have to come 3 times, 2 times, or 1 time. If you have to have another incident that requires a site visit, it's a one-time fee of $60 per incident. We've talked a little bit about, and that roughly at 15 users, that cost comes to $2,150 per month. And any security, that includes a security package for 5 machines, any non-bodied machines. So we're on 6, A, B, and C. Anyone who has a machine that there's no body at it, it's a $10 security package that goes on it. That is not subjected to the fee. The only thing that's subjected to the fee is if there's a live body at it, requiring a subscription to Microsoft and so on. If we can lower those costs by migrating your mail to Exchange Server online and decommissioning the Exchange Server, I believe is still present here, we're going to offer a flat fee for that under future project cost of $1,500. If it takes us 30 hours, if it takes us 10 hours, if it takes us 5 hours, if it takes us 5 hours, we'll cut you a break. But we don't value add bill. We estimate for about 15 users, it takes about an hour and a half with full migration of email and everything else to Office 365. Which is now called Microsoft 365. So your monthly charges we're looking at for a hardware, software, security, and backup, disaster recovery as a service, including a cyber insurance plan in case what if happens. You're looking at $135 per user, $2,100 per month. The extra 50 comes from approximately 5 of those machines that have no body at them, but they do need a security suite. So all-inclusive charge, once again, is $2,150, and the migration to Exchange Online at any time is $1,500 to shut down your Exchange server and move you to a Microsoft-hosted environment. We have very few to no customers today We have 1 or 2 out of 126 that run a Microsoft Exchange server on premise. That was part of the problem that alerted me, because in the industry we talk and we knew that you had an incident here. And so we're like, why, how was there an incident? Aren't they on the best, which is Microsoft Exchange server? And pursuant to Mike's question earlier about spam, we use Microsoft technologies as opposed to a Barracuda or a smaller network company, because we're a small company, so we go with the biggest that we can. If you are a small company and Spam Stops Here is a company from Jackson Road, Michigan, outside of Ann Arbor, national company, but they only have 5,000 domains they manage. I want to sign up with a spam protector from Microsoft, because Microsoft manages 10 billion domain accounts. And so that's where the spam protection would reside. All products would reside with Microsoft. My 15 engineers can't possibly compete with Microsoft. So we just deploy those technologies. If the Bruce Township wants to go to SharePoint, so shutting down your server and having all your documents stored by Microsoft, which is a great feature because you can access them from off-premise, you can reduce your backup and your exposure footprint. Microsoft is not attacked by cyber attacks. If they are, they've got 10 billion copies of your data on every continent except Africa currently. And they subscribe to all the latest security standards that not one managed service provider like us or anyone else can possibly compete with. So that's why we might migrate you and suggest you to go to those services. If we do qualify for exchange, for government pricing here, we will work with you and hold your hand to get that pricing. What we would do is drop your cost by approximately $20 per user per month, bringing it to about 115 to 110. $110 per user per month if it goes with government pricing. So, any questions? We have hardware, software, security, disaster recovery, and then IT as a service. We're embedding all those features into one. No overages. With the only time you would see an overage is if you have multiple site visits for different support issues, and that would be a $60 travel fee. So you call us as much as you want or as little as you want. You can sign there's no contract required. There is a contract, but it's month to month. So if you choose us and you don't like us, if you don't like the support you're getting, we don't want to hold you victim or litigate or anything of that nature. We've never had a lawsuit. We don't want one. But what I'm here to do is I don't want to stay in a relationship that somebody doesn't want us, but I want to make it mutually beneficial for all the parties involved. And that's why what we do is we educate you on your options, every option you have for IT. We don't walk in the door and sell you what we want to sell you. We advise you, then we jointly decide taking action after you've been educated. Many of our customers will say, hey, I don't know what I want. Can you guide me? Yep. Can you pick it for me? Okay, I'll pick it, but I want to make sure you know what your options are. Because we don't want to walk and say, this is what you need. We customize support plans for your needs. If you come back and in a year's time, you're only using 5 hours a year, we're not going to raise our rates, and we're going to look at lowering them and collectively sit down with you and say, hey, you're only using 20% of, you have 20% overhead for the first year. We're going to lower that rate. Because I like the communities like this, they speak to me. We educate you on your options, jointly decide to take action, sell you what's not in our best interest, but what's in yours. And encapsulated in this, we customize an IT support plan. So if you don't like these numbers, this isn't set in stone. This is a springboard of dialogue. I encourage you to go behind doors, talk, and come back to us with a plan or an adjustment that you might like or any questions you have. Because I've been here 24 years. I employ a whole bunch of people. And if you're concerned with our Ann Arbor mailing address, what we do to cover the ground is that we have an office in Ann Arbor. We have satellite offices in Oakland County, and our technicians are stationed geographically, Rochester, St. Clair, Macomb County, Algonac, and when they're stationed in other, for instance, when they're stationed in other locations, they wake up from there instead of driving to a central office. having to report in, so they get to work from home in today's post-COVID environment, or they go to a satellite office in Oakland County.
Did you drive from Ann Arbor today?
I drove from Ann Arbor today.
How long did it take you to get here? I just came from Ypsilanti.
Yeah, well, it was an experience.
Yeah.
I didn't want to send a technician. I didn't want to send a salesman. I wanted to come myself. And for starters, we don't have too many sales. All of our technicians are sales, but they're technicians. We are a technician-based company. We're not a sales company. I'm not, it's been a while since I've had to do a sales call because usually customers come word of mouth. I've also included here references so you know who you're dealing with. And there's customers out there for 24 years, and I can get you where the others will go.
Thank you.
There's phone numbers, and you can call them, talk to them, ask them questions. We set up a variety of environments for them. The Findling Law Firm in Royal Oak, Retirement Income Solutions in Ann Arbor, very large companies.
Do you currently service any other municipalities at all, Dan?
No, but we service a couple of school systems. Our Lady of the Lakes in Waterford area. No municipalities currently. But the SEC and the HIPAA requirements for the medical field we're in, we can assure you that the municipality consideration is not going to be an issue for us. Because of the HIPAA guidelines for medical institutions we manage, 7 dentist offices that are intertwined to the SEC requirements of Retirement Income Solutions, customer reference there that manages $2 billion in managed assets.
Are you any questions for Dan? Dana?
So once again, your reports would be delivered to you for your patch management, your security, to any group or distribution group that you'd want. If you had any problems reading them or looking at them, we already have looked at them. We would look at them with you, explain them to you, and then go from there. We're not here to nickel and dime. We're not here to sell you block hours. We're here to run a tight ship. And after the first year, if it goes down, we'll adjust accordingly. Thank you. Thank you, Board. Thanks, guys.
What is our timeline on this? I mean, when's our contract due with High Tech? Is it up? Is it?
We don't actually have a contract with them, but we did agree to buy 50 block hours. And I held off because we have like 10 block hours left. I held off until we made this decision. But
I mean, I'll be really totally honest with you. I know a lot of the infrastructure and building maintenance and anything else, but in regards to computers, making decisions, something that this is just like, I have no idea half the stuff that the gentlemen were talking about. I would like to have a little bit of time to research, maybe, I don't know if you have any time, to maybe check references, talk to people like Dana who's been in. I'm open. What do you guys think?
We need to kind of review everything. And I'm really not prepared to make a decision today unless there's any.
Both, you guys gave great presentations. We really appreciate you taking the time. It's not like we just want to take a little bit. We want to make the right decision too, because we need to base our decision what's best on, hopefully, on what we do on behalf of the residents of the community.
Yeah, there's a lot of information there. I personally, I think it'd be impossible to make a decision today.
Yeah. What's that? Yeah, we do have a meeting at the end of the month if we needed to add this, if we felt that we were running out of.
do you want to look it over, your 3 presentations, and then I'll put it on the agenda for.
Yeah, I think that's.
I would, yeah, because I'd want to go back to the original presentation. It is, okay. And compare all 3.
Doug, do you guys have any reference sheets also? I mean, I know Steve's local and with the chamber and everything, but is there any, I know they do, what municipalities do you guys service?
We don't service any municipalities right now. We do a lot with automotive and aerospace, doctors, dentists, tax preparers.
Is there any chance we could get a reference sheet maybe from?
Absolutely.
Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're not complete with what we want to try to find out by the end of the month. We do have a special board meeting at the end of the month. If we can get on that agenda, we will. If not, it's going to be, not be decided on until our April 19th board meeting, which is about a month from today. Third Wednesday of,
I'm sure if you need Romeo or us to come back, we'd more than happy to come back. Great questions.
well, thank you very much.
Thank you
We
both.
appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for coming in. So,
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
And it was an hour and 47 minutes.
Yeah, that was about the time for me.
Did you come across 696?
I came up the Southfield Freeway and there was a turnover accident that
I was on 696.
occurred right before I got to that point, so. It's a tough drive.
I'm going to move on, item 7C, their new business, which is the sewer grant. So there was some talk about trying to find, I made mention about maybe reaching out to our state, federal levels to try to get some funding to try to look at putting it towards either building a sewer treatment plant or portion of a sewer treatment plant. Talked with our neighboring communities, Armada Township and Ray Township, and they all wanted to kind of get on board with trying to do this as a joint venture, but it's still going to need to take one community to kind of strong arm it and do it, I guess put their name on it. So I guess just wanted to bring the board up to speed on that, something that I'm in the process of trying to do is apply for a grant for sewer funding for our hospital treatment plant. Currently got letters of support from Armada Township Supervisor John Paternick, Ray Township Supervisor Joe Jarzana, Macomb County Executive Mark Hackle.
So is this going to be a loan?
No, it's a grant.
We don't have to pay nothing back.
I'm applying for $19 million. So, but there's money that's through Gary Peters' office, and there's money that's available through Lisa McLean's office. It's two different houses, I guess you'd say. We're applying for both, funding from both Lisa McLean and also Senator Peters' office. Trying to do what we can.
So if it's this one, it says it's a new loan program.
Yeah, this is for the 2023, 2024 program. Right. What is the question?
Yes, if it was a loan or a grant.
No, we're applying for a grant. Where did you see the loan part of the grant?
It says right on the third paragraph that requirements of all local interest in the new loan program. Low interest loans to local governments.
Did that just come out today though, man?
You gave this to me at
There is, that's been Michigan State Police, there is an MSP, disaster relief type of program out. This is kind of
They all get this too?
Mike?
Yeah.
Excuse me, Mr. Supervisor. In keeping with what you're talking about, the sewer grant, what's the update on that discharge permit? I know that there was a motion and it was approved pending if Armada Township was in. I understand they're not in. What's the update on that?
Well, Armada Township's board did not approve to go 1.5 with us. He's still trying to get his board possibly to go 1.5, so Bruce Township did pay for the full discharge permit. I did reach back out to State of Michigan Eagle, the gentleman that was handling the permits over there. A month ago, we reached out to him to try to find out if we could get this transferred over, and there is a process that we're going to implement. It does sound like there's no problem transferring it from Chester's name into the township improvement system.
Even though it expired, is that my understanding, it expired?
Well, we renewed it.
Oh,
So it is
okay.
renewed. It's
Okay.
current right now.
Thank you.
But we did not want it to really expire and then go away because it's a long, drawn-out process to try to apply for a new permit. A lot of legal fees involved
I mean, I
too.
think it was a good call on the board's part. I just didn't hear the update on it.
Right now, that's kind of, yeah, where it's at, so.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. I'll have maybe a little bit more of an update next month, but we won't, and once we apply for it, we won't hear anything for a while.
Okay.
So, but I'll know about the permit. If we got to transfer into our name, if it's transferred from one site to another site, if it's good on the same, I guess, designated river, if it was discharge point, so.
Okay.
I gave you a copy of this, right? So that's- It is still just coming together, we just wanted to bring the board up to date that that's what was going on.
Well, we have to approve it, so everybody should have this to look at.
What's the due date of having to submit this, Mike? Is there any?
Is that, yeah, it's pretty much right now. That's why I got.
Do you have a location in mind?
The location's going to kind of coincide with the permit that we currently have, you know, which is going to
So
be,
then you have to get Romeo involved.
well, you know, in a way, I mean, that's down the line a little bit more, but it is in the village, it probably would be in the village of Romeo, that's where we decided it would go. I mean, there's also probably available in Ray Township, but it's currently zoned for a facility like that in the village of Romeo, so we wouldn't have to request a zoning change. And like I said, this is, you know, we're applying, doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to get it, but it would be nice if we were able to get to 19 million. This is a tri-community, you know, program that we're trying. I mean, how much better would it be for them to help out 3 communities at once, you know, with just one grant?
Was there an email also or some additional documentation?
No, this was something altogether different.
Okay. So is this just an update, Mike, or are we
Maybe
looking?
did she see both of them?
Yeah, this is just the application process.
Oh,
so-
okay. Can I just see that for a minute? Are we voting on something tonight?
I guess just to state it. I mean, I don't know what the motion would be, just go ahead and apply for that.
And we have to get permission, we have to approve applying.
For all
Any
grants?
Okay.
Okay, so here it is for this grant, identify cost share funding. Recipients should begin to think about how they will provide the 20% non-federal cost share requirement based on the total project cost.
There's usually cost sharing with almost every grant you're gonna get. It is 20%, and yeah, we would definitely have to be considering that, but one thing that we have is we can split the costs up between 3 communities.
So, but if we're anticipating this could be an $11 million project,
It's 19.
or 19 million is what we're saying it is. So what would be the cost that we would have to come up with for
Could be
Bruce Township?
20%, it's just under 4 million.
They're alone for, I don't think we
100,000 gallons alone from the village of Romeo is 1.3 million.
For how many?
For an additional 100,000 gallons, they want 1.3 million. And then after that, then there's going to be a plant expansion, which I'm sure is going to run into over 4 million. So 4 million, it would be just a little bit over $1 million. Like $1.3 million, $1.5 million, let's just say, per community.
And we do have the commitment from Armada, as far, their board approval on this, or,
I got
because you
support,
said you had letters of support
Right.
from,
letters of support from Armada, Ray
But from the
Township.
supervisors, not the board necessarily. So it would have been nice to have this in the packet, so.
well, yeah, I would have, what's the time, I guess, what is the deadline that we have to have our submission in?
I got to get it in right away.
29, I thought.
Pretty much. It's basically kind of submitting for a grant, doesn't necessarily mean we need to accept the grant. If we get the grant, then that's one thing, but we don't necessarily have to accept the grant. You know, so we get the grant and we're awarded the grant, the allocation for the money, and then we can determine at that
Accept or
point.
deny it?
But
We won't be automatically required.
We're sure?
I think that's what
I don't think that there's that penalty. I can find out about the penalty or something like that. But, I mean, the township needs to be a little more aggressive than where we're going. I mean, sitting and doing nothing, and it was suggested, I don't think is the right answer either. Try to get $19 million worth of federal or state money, I think is an important step in the right
It would have been nice
direction.
to have all this ahead of time, Mike, so we could.
I'm
look
putting it
at
together at the last minute, and if I
That
would
was dated
have.
March 6th.
Well, you know, that's because I'm just still working on it.
Yeah, but this was, especially after the board, that would have been the same. But, do we need to make a motion so that we can, because we really shouldn't be discussing it until we make a motion, right? Because I'd like to hear everybody's thoughts on this.
I make a motion that we approve to apply for this with the condition that, with the condition that we can back out of it if we can't afford the 20% that we
I'll support that.
So how do I find that condition under some penalty clause? I mean,
Yeah, to see if there's a penalty clause, or, if you can find out before submitting the grant application, there should be some type of, I just want to make sure that we're protecting ourselves and the taxpayers.
Yeah, I totally get your logic behind
Yeah,
all
I
this
mean,
stuff.
it makes sense.
Makes
I mean,
total
it's-
sense.
It'd be a
Yeah.
great solution.
It would be.
Just need to-
Give all the answers.
but every grant that we apply for, I mean, there's hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars out there, state and federal
Yeah.
levels, but we have to apply, we are going to have to pay a percentage
of
on
them.
every grant that we get.
Right,
I mean, the bigger the grant, I mean, the more we're going to have to pay on percentages.
agreed.
And,
That's very probable.
I mean, I can't guarantee how I can get that. I mean, I don't know what kind of wording you want me to, you're not going to give it to me in writing, I guess, if you look, there's
There should be more information on the grant availability. Isn't there any details or terms and conditions available on the grant?
I'll support Frank's motion and work on getting that information too.
I seconded that already, so, but yeah, but if we can get that information, Mike, I think it'll just make everybody feel a lot more comfortable that, okay, gosh, all of a sudden, let's say which is a good problem to have, let's say we're awarded this money, but then again, how do we come up with the financial backing? Do we obtain a loan? You know, we have letters of support for the other townships, but when push comes to shove, we don't have their board approval to say, yeah, we're willing to
And
commit
if
to
we've
this
committed
right
to
now.
4 million and we can't even get a loan for that,
Yeah, but I, Mike, thank you for all the time and effort you've taken on this. I really do. It's a great option. It really is.
All right, so we have a motion with support. Motion by Frank, support by Lisa. There's no more, with the contingency that I get the, I guess, the clause or like first rights of
Refuse.
denial. Refusal.
Something in there.
There's no other discussion. Can we get a roll call, please, Steve?
Philip,
Yes.
Kraft,
no.
Crafty,
Yes.
DeGiorgio.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Moving on to item 7, deed of cemetery sexton. Frank, do you want to start it off?
Yep. So here,
He's handing you something.
so what I just gave you is comparison of what, this was last year's contract, and you compare it to this year, to what he submitted now. There is no increase in anything except the foundation charge. He went from 50 cents, or 55 cents per square inch to 75 cents per square inch. And that's based on cement, concrete costs. That's escalated as long as, and as well as aggregates. And then with the sexton fee of $1,200 a year, he went up $150 on that. So other than that, the contract remains the same, except for those 2 items that they increased. In the third year, it does go on a full body burial, it goes from 700 to 800, and that's the third year. And again, last year, he was the only one that put in for it. Put in a bid, we put it out for proposal, a bid, and he was the only one that put in for it. He's been doing a good job since all year long. He's cleaned up a lot of messes. He's straightened some headstones out.
I got stuff to say. No offense.
So I make a motion that the board approves to a 3-year contract with Yard Services.
Support.
By Susan, open for discussion. So I know as Mr. Lacy himself came in, I guess tonight he's looking to bid out the sexton work, so we do have other opportunities to possibly bid it out. Last year when this subject came up, I know it was a huge discussion at the board table. We were paying considerably less with the previous sexton company or cemetery maintenance guy we were using before. I mean, considerably less. He did not get his bid turned in on time, but he said he would honor his prices that he had from the previous year, which we failed to accept, or to state that we were going to go out for more bids on it. Last year, we took a 1-year contract stating that we would go 1 year, see how it went, and then put it up for bid again this year if need be. The price of his foundations, and you mentioned because the price of concrete went up, he's not even using concrete foundations. He's putting down precast concrete pads with stone underneath of them, which is kind of deceiving for one thing. And then if we wanted to have that done, we could just have the bulk company come out and do it for 25 cents a square inch less than what he's doing it for. We don't even need him for that. Because because they'll charge 50 cents a square inch. They're going to come out, they're the ones that make the headstones. They'll come out and set the foundation and set the headstone at 25 cents a square inch less. The 25 cents a square inch, if we do 12 burials a year, at $144 at the quarters, 25 cents a square inch. It comes out to $900. I'm sorry, $1,728 just for 12. If we only did 12 burials a year at a loss of 25 cents per burial, at a 16 by 36, which is a standard foundation, that's overhanging it approximately 2 inches all the way around, we would lose just on that alone $1,728. He's got a sexton fee on there of $1,200, which I personally have never heard of it, and I do work for other cemeteries currently. At $1,200, that's $100 a month, so if we did 12 more burials for the year, when we're only going to be making 25 cents on a burial, $25 on a burial, he's going to charge us $100 more if we did 12 a year. That'd be $1,200. So we're going to lose $75 on every burial. We're going to lose $1,728 on foundations, which are not even basically concrete. They're stone and precast. So just on 12 burials alone, we're going to lose $2,628 out of taxpayers' money. Go ahead, Frank.
I was just going to say that that's not paid by the taxpayers. 55 cents per square inch, that's paid by the family under the deceased.
So our current ordinance
does not pay for that.
But our current ordinance shows that we charge 55 cents a square inch in our fee schedule that we charge for our burials.
And that's what he was charging, 55 cents.
We charge it now 75 cents, so that means we're going to have to make another amendment to our contract, which we just made an amendment to our ordinance in 2022 in order to be, physically responsible, making $200 a burial with your old sexton company. And then this new Jerry, Yard Services came in and basically they bid everything at $25 under exactly what we have on our in our ordinance. It's like purposely everything you look at is.
No, it's all the same price. I didn't bring.
He has the same price that he bid from last year, but his price last year was substantially higher than the price that we were receiving from the nurse.
So is this?
Yeah, that one right there.
I know the prices in that, and what we were paying previous is substantially more. But if you look at the numbers, it's factual numbers. We got it now again after we just did a major increase in our,
Hold on, that's not that bottom sheet right there, tells you, that's from our ordinance right here, this one here. It's all the same prices. And again, we don't pay for that, the family of the deceased paid for it. The only thing that the township is on the hook for is the $1,200 annual sexton.
so what is that for?
And what he charged, the reason he charges that is because there's times he has to come out here prior to the burial, meet with Christine, used to be Bonnie, now it's Christine, to decide where to stake out where the burial's going to be. There's times he goes out there, and there's times he has to wait for the cemetery people as well.
So who pays that $1,200?
That comes out of the township.
Well, what about the other 20 cents a square inch on?
That comes, the family pays for that. We don't
Well,
pay.
not until we get our ordinance.
Right, correct. And that'll be done next.
Why are we not going to bid it out for, why don't we?
Again, last year, we only had one person that put in for it. And the individual that did it last year, did a terrible job. Left things messed up, didn't grade things properly, put headstones in the wrong places. He took $400 from a funeral home and cashed a check, never paid it back, and we ended up having to cough that up for the funeral home. So,
This is such important work. I think we've had such trouble. It's important to stay with someone that we know and trust.
Oh, he's charging a lot of money.
it's
And
all the
we're-
same
we're-
amount except for the annual.
His charge, I'm saying, from what other cemeteries are charging and what other sextons are charging, he is
But,
considerably.
Mike,
Do you ever think that maybe the other cemeteries are giving things away?
I don't think so.
That's the way I look at it.
Yes.
Because
What would it
The
hurt
prices of
to,
everything
Washington's already starting to look at how they should increase their cemetery.
starting to, we've already increased ours just a couple of
That's
years,
right.
not even 2 years ago, and now
You're right.
now we're charging for a plot, the same money they're charging at Resurrection.
No, Resurrection starts for a grave, $2,800. Starts. We're giving Bruce Township residents for $1,000, non-resident $2,000, so we're cheaper than Resurrection.
What is Washington charging for?
I don't know, I really don't care about Washington.
They're changing it.
They're changing it, though, I know they called me, I wanted to know.
Well, theirs are $350.
Okay.
We're 3 times that for a resident,
That's-
and we're gonna raise them even more? This is not
We're not
Resurrection
raising- we're not
Cemetery. We
raising
don't
them.
have a chapel out there. We have pine trees and,
You're right, they're starting to look a lot better.
well, I mean, I don't think you remember, but I would personally had to take you out to the cemeteries in the vehicle to show you what kind of shape
I did,
that
you're
those
right.
cemeteries were in, with
Grab-
the same company that you're supporting right now was a guy that was taking care of them for the longest time that allowed our
Well, no
cemeteries to
one
get in
held
the
them
condition that they got.
accountable. No one held them accountable.
So
Mike.
you're supporting the
I
guy
totally
that you're
agree.
admitting right now, nobody held that guy accountable to do a good job, but we're supposed to pay him a lot more than we would be paying somebody else to do this, possibly the same job that he was doing before. We didn't hold him accountable. The same thing happened when I was taking care of the cemeteries. I was out there with Scotts. We moved and cleaned up a lot of mess that was there from our previous section, which was Yard Services, the guy you're supporting right now. We moved dirt, we've cut trees down, we've taken fences down, we've cut back tree lines with no support, no,
Really?
absolutely.
Okay.
You know, just because I didn't ask you to come out there to do it. There was don't you remember the fence that was in between the 2 cemeteries at Bruce Armada? There was a fence line there. That fence is all gone. That was all taken out. That big pile of dirt that was overflowing on top of the headstones in McCafferty Cemetery, that dirt's been all pushed back and been moved over the hill. I mean, I don't want to get into an argument
Yeah, I
with you,
don't
but I don't
either.
understand why you're so in love with the company that we're having that we've had problems with in the past. When
Again.
we've got other companies here possibly that maybe that want to bid it out for a lot
Problems that
less.
were in the past or before we got here. And yeah, you inherited it and things blew out of proportion. Those cemeteries have been neglected for years and now they're starting to look a lot better. And the guy's done everything I have asked and he's even done things that I haven't asked him
Well,
to
that's
do.
the way.
So I just feel that I have a good working relationship with him and he's been doing a good job. He hasn't changed much on his prices. In the last year, a lot of things have gone up, fuel, material, labor, concrete, you name it. So I don't understand, to me, I think it's fair.
But how can we bury somebody's family member at a cost at the cost it's going to cost us annually? How are we going to keep losing money annually? Are we going to keep raising our rates because that's what Jerry's doing? And that's what I don't understand. And what's a $1,200 sexton fee? What is this money? Does that mean our lawn mowing guy gets a lawn mowing fee just because he's a lawn mowing guy? The part of the burials and everything else, the guy's got to meet those people and
They
come up on a
charge
Sunday. He gets
Fuel
those.
surcharges and everything on your bills.
I mean, I can't believe that
I'm
this
getting
board is
one.
being that irresponsible or unphysically responsible enough to see what's going on here. You know, this cemetery is supposed to be a perpetual account. It's supposed to be maintained
No,
itself.
perpetual accounts are only supposed to be held by a privately owned cemetery. Township does not fall under that category.
So we have to have fundraisers in order to pay these high charges that we're getting when there's a possibility that
No, the
maybe other people.
fundraisers are there to fix the things that are broken without putting it on the backs of the taxpayers.
Well, that wouldn't be on the backs of the taxpayers if we were making a little bit of money on each burial instead of losing money on each burial. Instead
We're
of
not losing
losing,
money on each barrel.
we get $25 per burial, Frank.
Right.
So if you take the $1,200 a year and we do 12 burials, we're still losing $75 a burial. I don't know what you don't see there.
But at $1,000 a burial, we're making more money.
How many-
$1,000 a grade.
What's been the average burial number per year over the last few years?
Well, that's hard to judge because you had COVID, which was a high number.
Right.
Right.
But just aside from
Um,
COVID aside, like in the past 2 years, right?
So this is not something that we need to, he's got his contracts, can go another month on his contract. There's no reason why we can't put this out for bid. We got the RFP from last year, I got it right here in front of me. We can send it out to have it
There's a
bid.
motion.
So,
When-
There's no reason why we
when does
can't
the
take another
contract-
30 days to maybe make the right decision on behalf of the residents of
I'm
this
fine with
community.
doing that. I just want to make sure that we're not, that the contract's not expiring beforehand. It seems like there's been a lot improved services since last time. I don't have, March 7th is when it
That's what it says here. Yeah, that's it.
Then we don't- Well, can we make?
That was when this bid was supposed to be sealed no later than March 7th, I think we contacted the board and they-
Good till the 17th.
Pardon me?
It's good till the 17th.
Of this month?
Of March.
Of March, so that's right.
Still doesn't mean that we shouldn't have the opportunity to try to bid it out. We're not doing our residents just cause if we don't shop to try to get the right price. I mean, maybe now he's doing a better job than he used to do, but we still had issues with him in the past, but he's only doing the job that he's supposed to do, that any professional company should be doing. We shouldn't be babysitting them.
Yeah, I think we are.
And I got nothing
Do you
wrong
have
with them.
previous sexton experience?
Yes.
Okay.
And I thought the board made a ruling last year that they were going to put it out for bid this year. That was my understanding. I couldn't bid on it last year.
Okay.
You couldn't bid on it last year because your bid was closed when it was time to do it.
That's not Scott.
No, that's not, I'm not Scott.
But
I've done
Scott-
work in this community. I owned a landscape company in this community for 24 years. And I sold out, and now this is what I do.
Just primarily sexton experience?
That,
Sexton
and
work?
I do sprinklers, I do a little bit of other excavating and grading and stuff like that. I dig all the graves for Glen Eden over on 26.
Jerry had, Yard Services has a right, if this goes out for bid, to bid. I'm not concerned so much about the quality of his workmanship has gotten better. I'm concerned about the amount of money that we're paying to have work done that should be a lot less. And I know this business, been in this business, I deal with other cemeteries, and a $1,200 alone sexton fee for absolutely having nothing done other than meet people at the cemetery, which is part of the burial process anyways, is ridiculous. And I'll be honest with you, I had communication with one of the owners from this company that saw him at a venue in an outing and says, man, I'm really sticking it to Bruce Township. And that's the kind of wording that I'm getting from the community. And that was quote unquote what he had stated to somebody else. So you want to be the, I don't want to be the joke. I don't see what it would take. Put the bids out, have the bids out, give them 2 weeks, deadline be end of the month, and we have our bids in by our April 19th board meeting to make a decision then.
I guess I would be in support of that if we can ensure that, he's willing to extend his contract for 30 days so that we're not without sexton services.
It's kind of unfair now, too. He's given us a bid, and so
But I mean, it's,
proposed.
yeah. But if he wants to change his, then he can also.
I mean, there's
I
a
think
motion on the floor.
he can change it to whatever he wants, and it should be just a little bit more reasonable. I'm sorry, but I just.
Just the $1,200, that's the only difference?
The burials.
Burials are the same price as what they've always
Go
been.
back the year before what he was charging us, he's about $200 or $300 more a burial than what he was charging us before when he was doing it. He's definitely $300 more than what our previous sexton was doing last year for him. Frank, you're laughing, I know.
I am laughing because you keep talking about the previous sexton, and the previous sexton did a crappy job.
You
okay?
weren't dealing with them,
Motions
I
are-
was, and that's what
yeah.
you're hearing from Jerry.
No, I heard that from you too.
Well, no,
And I did
that's
see
not all
pictures.
necessary.
I've seen pictures, and I had the funeral director call me complaining about the $400 that the guy stole from him.
That I'm not.
Yes, you are aware of it,
I'm
because
not
I
denying that, I
called him.
said, but what pictures are you talking about? The pictures of he was taking care of the cemeteries for 1 year, trying to clean up the mess from Jerry's work for, I don't know how many years, from Yard Services. That's where the mess came in. That mess did not come from 1 year's worth of service from Scott, so I think that there's an issue.
All right, whatever, I'm not gonna argue. There's a motion on the floor. I said what I had to say, you guys want to keep talking about it.
I just don't understand why I'm trying to prove a point to try to do what's best on behalf of the people. This guy is ripping us off with the prices that he's charging. It's as simple and as flat out as that. And we're supposed to be doing what we think is,
I'd like to see what, your name
I
is
would like
Lacy,
the
right?
opportunity.
I mean, if you are currently providing these services for, is it the
Well, I
one
mean-
on 26 Mile
Yeah.
Road? Just east of Romeo Plank,
Yes.
right down, okay.
is it normal that from your experience, to have a sexton, an annual sexton fee on there as far as right off the top? Is that?
Yeah, but that's a
Thank
little,
you.
Yeah, about
I
what?
see, I think that's a little bit excessive for the money. But
Yeah. This like a retainer.
We didn't have it before.
You had it last year.
Last year from this guy, that was the first year.
Okay, can we vote?
So there's no other discussion, I'll make a
What was the motion?
motion was to accept the contract. Go ahead, Frank.
As presented.
Support, I think, Lisa, you supported it? Or no, Susan did. There's no other discussion. Can we get a roll call, please?
Philbrook,
No.
Crafty,
No.
Kraft,
Yes.
DeGiorgio.
Yes.
Motion fails.
I would like to make a motion, though, to at least receive, I don't think we have to open it up to the entire public, I mean, we could, but I would like to see a bid from, or a proposal from Mr. Lacy.
Well, that's not fair. We have to open it up to the public.
Then we can open up to the public.
It's not fair because now they're gonna see this bid. They already seen this bid. This bid was seen before it even hit the internet. Anyway, let's move on.
Well, it should have been done right the first time.
It was done right.
No, it's not done right, Frank, and you did the same thing to me last year about Jerry
just-
Yard Services. Look at last year's meeting. I don't know what the difference is, right or wrong is. We're trying to save the township money, especially when it comes to an account that we don't really
Mike,
have
you
a
and
line
him
item.
had an argument last year, and you just can't let things go when you get in an argument with
Have him
someone.
give us the right price, and we can use Jerry, but he's not gonna give us the right price. He's just gonna keep charging us, overcharging us, as far as I'm concerned. I guess we'll see if we put it out for we put it out for bid and what the bids come back at. And Jerry's got a right to bid it. So I'll make a motion to go ahead and put the cemetery sexton and grounds keeper and sexton work out for bid. Have it completed by March 31st, and then motion to approve on our April 19th meeting.
Support.
Work by Lisa. Is there any other discussion?
How's that fair? Never mind.
Same thing happened last year.
Listen.
There was two sets of bids that went out
Listen,
last year.
I.
But no one put in for it.
If
No one put in
no one
for it
put in
last
for it
year.
last year.
That doesn't give
If
the right to-
anything,
the guy the right to charge us whatever he wants to without a competitive.
I've been waiting a whole year to bid on this, and I never knew. I was to the understanding it was gonna be bid out, like your board meeting said it was gonna be bid out, and I've been waiting.
So we have a motion to go ahead and get it set up, put out for bid. Bids to be due by March 31st and reviewed on our April 19th board meeting. Support by Crafty. If there's any other discussion, if not, can we get a roll call?
DeGiorgio,
No.
Kraft,
No.
Philbrook,
Yes,
Crafty.
Yes.
motion fails.
So now we're without sexton services. I'd like to,
We can still put it out for bid. I think there's no reason why we can't put it out for bid. We're not honoring a company. I mean, we can still bid on it, just like we were gonna bid on anything else. As of right now, we're undecided on which way we're gonna go on it, so.
Well, we have to do something because it expires on the 17th.
I mean, I'll bring my backhoe to the cemetery and I'll dig a grave if we need to. At no charge.
It's not an option.
All I think that we're doing is, I think, out of fairness to the communities, to put it out for bid, 30 days, have a decision.
I make
That's
a
all.
motion that we extend yard services contract through May until we decide what we're going to do.
I'll support that.
How about till April 31st, not through May?
I would say
I-
till
I
May
say May
30th.
31st.
Well, that's
So
a month after
31
our
days in
meeting.
May? Okay, till May, our May meeting.
We'll make a decision in our April meeting.
We don't have to, we extend it until May, then we can do it at the May meeting.
Just in case something comes up or whatever. It gives us just a little
Till the
bit
end of
of,
May, yeah.
so we don't have to go back and
Later
ask
figure it
again.
out,
So
yeah.
what's today?
May 31st.
I'll support. There's no other discussion. Can we get a roll call to keep Jerry, our yard services, as our sexton until the end of May 31st?
Philbrook,
Yes?
DeGiorgio,
Yes.
Kraft,
Yes.
Crafty.
Yes.
We need to make that motion for, I don't think we need, but we can put out for bid, right?
Well,
We
we'll
just gotta
decide,
put it on
we
our
have 2
website.
months to decide. So, what we're gonna do.
Okay.
See why he wouldn't if he's,
Steve, I got your number. You want to leave me your number so I can? I'll make sure that you get contacted this time if we do put off a bid or what we decide on doing.
Okay, not a problem.
Okay?
Thank you.
You want to leave it with me before you go?
Yep. I can wait until the meeting's done, but keep going.
What's that?
I can wait until the meeting's done.
All right, moving on to item 70, our lawn maintenance contract.
Ron White's been doing our landscaping maintenance. And as you can see, first page of his contract, the site location is Bruce Township Hall and Township Fire Station. In the year 2022, those were his charges, and you'll see my $0 sign with an arrow all the way down, no increase in any of those services. Same thing for site location, site location, Bruce Township Fire Station 2 on Van Dyke. His 22 prices, no increase in anything except he went up $10 on the weekly lawn care service and the biweekly edging per cut. He went up to $105. I'm sorry, yeah, no, he's up to 95. It was 85 last year. So it's an increase of $10 just in that category. The next, Bruce Armada Cemetery, he's keeping his prices the same except for the biweekly lawn care and biweekly edging. He increased that $40. And McCafferty Cemetery, he went up $25, same thing in the lawn cutting at McCafferty Cemetery. So he didn't increase his pricing in anything except the lawn cutting. $10 in one, $40 in the Bruce Armada Cemetery, and $25 in the McCaffrey Cemetery. In Goodrich Cemetery, no increase at all. Same as 22. Again, he's been doing a great job cutting the lawns. There's times that in the dry season, the lawn didn't even need cutting, so he didn't go out there, nor did he charge us for that. And it was able for us to free up some money and do some other things with it, some other needed services.
I agree with you on that. Ron, they did have bids on the lawn mowing last year. They were all competitive. I think that Ron does come in at a competitive price. I agree that Ron does do a good job, cares about what he does. Obviously, there has been a small increase. Like you said, it's been $10 just per cutting, nothing else additional there. I'm perfectly fine with that.
I make a motion that we accept this contract for 3 years from Ron White to
I'll support.
the lawn cutting.
I'll support. There's no
We
others.
want to have some conversations about this.
You want to, well, we're open for discussion.
So, it doesn't seem like it's real significant, but if you do look at the cost, 260,
It's 1950 annually.
no, it could be up to, but it may not necessarily be that amount, because if he doesn't do these services because of dry season, and so it could be a potential increase of $1,950. And this is for a 3-year contract also, correct?
Yeah.
And did we say last
This
year?
price holds then for 3 years.
This price holds for 3 years.
Right. Everybody's forgetting, a lot of things happened in the last year.
Yeah, I know. I
Wages have
know.
gone up.
Wages,
gas,
everything, gas
whatever, all that
in
stuff has
and
gone
of
up.
itself. What was it this time last year?
Lawnmower used to
A lot.
cost $10,000, now they cost $20,000.
Yeah.
You know, it's just everything's gone up.
Yeah. Okay. I have no further comments. Or what, I guess, I do have one other, did we say in last year's meeting that we were gonna bid this out again as well? Or did we keep it completely separate from the Sexton conversation?
I don't remember. Steve, do you recall? Do you remember?
Nope, I don't recall that.
So we have a motion to support. We don't have anybody here regarding this lawn mowing. No, but there's no other discussion. Can we get a roll call, please, David?
Crafty,
Yes.
Kraft,
Yes.
DeGiorgio,
Yes.
Vogel.
Yes. Motion approved. Ordinance amendments. Can I get a copy? I can't find a copy.
Sorry.
Okay, all right, moving on, item new business under 7F, ordinance to amend item 161. So this was in front of the planning commission, and what it stated basically, I'm not real 100% comfortable with the wording on it, because this is, it's basically listed here as, and I wanted to bring this up before, and I guess it's slipped my mind, but, is there another page to it? So it's considered a physical health care establishment, but I think that this is supposed to state fitness, physical fitness, like a gym. It's like the gymnastics program that they have over at 32 Mile Road. I'd like to get the, so anyways, basically, we didn't have anything over 5,000 square feet. It was basically nothing was allowed over 5,000 square feet. The motion was that we thought that the 5,000 square feet was a little bit small. Planning Commission looked at it and decided that we would allow it over 5,000 square feet with a special land use. So that's what we have in front of us, is an amendment to that ordinance 161-02-23. I would like to make a motion to go ahead and approve it, just to maybe clean up the physical health care, possibly maybe, if they can. It's supposed to be like maybe a rec center, activity center, you know. And this sounds to me like it's a physical.
You want a term that's all inclusive, is what you're saying?
This sounds like a physical healthcare establishment, meaning like a physical fitness. Is that what you guys would read it as being, or do you read it as being like a physical fitness, like
What is it actually
exercise?
saying in the ordinance? And if Joe have,
It says physical health establishment. I know that some of our wording in our ordinances and our usages are really worded a little bit differently and kind of outdated, but then we can leave it there, but it just seems deceiving in what, I mean, if it was like, what is, I guess the boot camp over at Machina's, what would that,
Physical fitness center.
Is it
it is
possible?
considered a physical fitness center?
Yeah, I mean, a
Is it-
physical health center, in my opinion, is a rehab place or something like that.
So can we change physical health to fitness center?
Should, I prefer to table this for, if it's the planning commission that was helping with the wording, was it?
But the planning commission makes a recommendation to the board.
Did they make the recommendation to approve it
Yeah.
as is?
That's
Okay. If, I'd just assume if you want to make changes to it, then we don't vote on it now until we have either Mike here to explain why, or if we're suggesting any changes to what's been approved by the planning commission.
It's just a name, the word help out and fitness and just, are you familiar with the gymnasium, gymnastics program they have on 32 Mile Road?
Yes.
This was brought to discussion because they want to move their facility into Cruz Township. So I don't know if that would be really a gymnasium or gymnastics, it would be called a physical health establishment. That's what my problem is.
well, we could put it on the 29th, and Mike, we'll be back.
This table.
I'd say, yeah, let's table it, because I'd like Mike's input on that before we start making any changes to what was approved by the planning commission. There may be a reason for that language, I don't know if it's standard.
Okay. Sounds good. Okay, any objections? Thanks, Lisa. Moving on to item 7G would be the Parks and Rec. I'd like to set a public hearing for April 19th for our parks, set a public hearing for our April 19th board meeting for our Parks and Rec budget.
So we do have to do a public hearing?
As of right now, we do need to do a public hearing. It's something we can always take off, but we don't have a lot of time to make. I'd rather have the decision on it now and remove it from our.
Because we never had to do that before, they always do it.
We've had, no, Claire's been here.
Yeah, because we approved the budget.
Well, we're going to approve it. If we have the public hearing, we'll approve it like we kind of did tonight. The same thing with our budget, public hearing and our approval for the budget was done tonight.
Are you saying, Susan, that it should be a public hearing through the Parks and Rec Commission?
They come to us
And
and we do our,
then,
that's
once
how
it's
we've done it in
approved
the
by
past,
the
but-
commission?
Since it's a millage, it's not, supposedly since it's a millage, it's the taxpayers' millage, which are
We need to get it approved by the townships.
taxpayers for Bruce and for Washington. That's why I'd rather just put it on there and possibly take it off, just so we know. We do, we'll be hopefully proving an attorney at tomorrow's meeting. And that's just so.
The guidance as far as whether or not.
I know everything's changing with the commission and
Right.
There's so many changes going on right now, it's
Not fast enough.
not fast enough for sure.
So I'll stick with my motion, to make a motion to go ahead and add Parks and Recreation, public hearing to our April 19th board meeting. support it.
Awesome.
Or by Lisa. If there's no other discussion, can we get a roll call, please, Dan?
Pat,
Yes.
DeGiorgio,
Yes.
Philbrook,
Yes.
Kathy.
Yes.
Moving on to communications. Does anybody want to start with communications? Anybody got it?
Just,
The pavilion got moved. I'm sure everybody saw that. It was-
I didn't even notice that one.
The pavilion got moved from the Lions Club. It was
Oh,
removed from the
that-
Village Park. And then now it's going to go to Woodside Bible Church on 32 and Campground. They're going to rebuild it and use it there. So it was set, basically, the license was slated for demolition at the Lions Club, so it's been saved.
That's wonderful news.
I have a question about the ordinance book that George and Gary was working on. Do you know anything about this? So,
Clean up the wording. That's in-
Oh, Parks and, were you going to talk about the Parks and Rec Commission meeting tomorrow night, Mike?
Go ahead.
Go ahead, you're the commission member.
We have Parks and Rec Commission meeting tomorrow night. So that's all I can, we got an agenda. You can go on the website and look at the agenda. Basically, we're going to listen to any applicants that applied for the new commission. They're going to have their time to come up to the podium and state a little bit about themselves, and we're going to get through that, and then we're going to try to look at the budget, maybe looking at possibly approving the budget tomorrow night also. So it's going to be kind of a late night.
It is 6 PM at the Washington Township Boardroom.
We do have a new schedule, and those meetings are going to start being moved over to Bruce Township. I got to just coordinate our schedules with Amy. Any other communications?
no, it might be, that we just had put in, might be covered by the state because of election laws, so might be getting some money back there.
That's great news.
Need to take a look at reducing our insurance rates by putting cameras in all our vehicles, township vehicles.
I'm getting an estimate on that because that's something the insurance company suggests.
Yeah,
I just didn't have the information this time, so.
I think it's a great idea.
I was happy to hear Teresa's input back on the, how we're now recording and presenting the meetings, so the cameras overall and our.
Susan's done a good job.
Susan, you have done a fantastic job putting that all together. And what was really nice to see was the budget for that cost substantially reduced.
Well, and the boys are doing a great job. too.
Yeah, and just wanted to give my kudos to everybody, and thanks for stating that, Therese. It's nice to hear input from the residents on those types of things, so.
Nobody's got anything else, I'll make a motion to adjourn at, is that 8:55?
7:54.
That's
Or-
a record.
Or by DeGiorgio, all in favor?
Aye.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.